So you guys, hopefully some of you probably know me, some of you don't. I'm Captain Jim Lemke. Been guiding almost 30 years now in the Tampa Bay area. It's been kind of, you see the good, you see the bad. Unfortunately, you see some of the ugly stuff too, but it is, I can tell you overall, I've had a great experience meeting so many different people and stuff like that. You know, and the tarpon is kind of my passion, tarpon and permit fishing. So with my seminars, I'll give you a little bit of basic stuff, and then I'll turn it loose to you guys. You ask questions. There's no dumb question. I'll answer anything and everything. If you go get a chart and say, can you show me how to do this? I'll show you. You still have to learn how to go out and do it. You know, so I'm very open when it comes to that stuff. Basically, I didn't bring any rods and reels because I didn't need to hammer out, carry up all that stuff. Basically, Pro Staff by Daiwa. What Daiwa does for me, they built a great tarpon rod for us. And basically that rod is a 8-foot extra heavy rod. So what happens with the 8-foot rod, you still have to have a light tip. With the light tip is there so you can throw thread fins or crabs or even shrimp. You know, you want to use those on the beach, around, you know, the drift at Egmont, pretty much anywhere where you got to cast a light bait. When you go, I don't know how many people like chunk at the bridge, like you're chunking for tuna, for tarpon, or any of that stuff. But when you start going there, you want a little bit smaller rod. So they make the same exact rod in a 7-foot. And those are the only two sizes that I use for tarpon in the permit. So the reels, anywhere from a 4500. They came out now with the new BG series, which is the old Saltus.
That's one we're giving away, 2,500 though. They make that at the tarpon size.
Trade it in if you want a tarpon fish. Trade it in for, you know, the 4,500 or 5,000, and I think they make it all the way up to an 8,000 now. Those reels are pretty much bulletproof. We tested them last year and they held up. So I mean, I think it's $120 or $130 for a tarpon reel is unbelievable. The rods are $70 or something like that. So I mean, you're not back in those. Back 5 years ago, you were into a tarpon outfit for, you know, $400, $500. You know, now a couple $100. Time you spool it up with braid, you're out tarpon fishing. So it's not with great equipment. You know, that it'll last year after year. I mean, I still have some of the prototype reels that they let me use. I won't give them back. I mean, it's truly amazing. Basically, the way I rig everything, starting with the reels, you know, I load everything with 50-pound braid. You know, Daiwa makes J braid, they make Samurai, you know, it's all great braid. You know, Power Pro, you know, Tough Line, whatever you want, whatever your preference. Everyone's line is real preference for me. I like the Daiwa Samurai line because it's real thin, it's silky, it casts about 10-15 feet further than Power Pro and the rest. So a little bit of distance sometimes makes a huge difference, especially when you're on the beach and tarpon fishing. From there,
Hero also makes a great braided line too, that they have downstairs if you're interested as well.
So from there, everyone, you know, there's a big mystique, you know, big fish, you gotta have giant leader, you know, heavy leader, stuff like that. very, with circle hooks nowadays, really don't need it. I start off with 40-pound Seaguar fluorocarbon. You know, everyone says, oh, you gotta have it. You know, if I move around the bridges or something like that, I'll go up to maybe 60. Or if the fish are running really big, on the end of my 40, I'll tie a little tippet. I mean, 6 inches. You don't want to do more than 6 inches. Because, I mean, the big old eyes of the big silver fish, they see everything. So that is, I mean, that right there is one of the key secrets. You see everyone out there with 80-pound, 120-pound. You know, if you're sticking dead shad on the bottom, you know, 100-pound test is nothing. But when you're drifting crabs or on a beach, it's 10 feet of water, it's crystal clear. And they see everything. So that's one of the main things. On the end of it, these little Owner Mutu lights, 5-aughs. Sometimes I go all the way down to a 3-aught. The biggest mistake people make, you see them out there with 7-aughts, 8-aughts. You know, just too big, too heavy. It's going to sink the bait. Well, sometimes you want it to sink the bait, but we'll go over that. But, you know, try to get away with the lightest stuff possible. You know, if you hook a fish, you know, and you're in, you know, a boat, you can chase it. If you're in a kayak, obviously you can chase it, but probably not as fast. You can still, I mean, you use the same technique. I don't care. It's just a matter of getting the bite. You have to get the bite to be able to get the fish. I mean, that's the key thing. Depending on what we're fishing with, if you're on the beach crab fishing, a lot of times I try 2 separate deals. I'll put one on a weighted float, like a pinfish or something like that wants to dig towards the bottom. You put them on the float. You have a threadfin or a crab, he's going to swim down. The threadfin's going to swim down in front of the fish, then say, oh, I made a mistake, and start swimming up, and that's when he gets ate. You know, the crab just kind of swims on top. If they're up on top, milling around, you know, the crab works best. So you're kind of working, you know, working that water column a little bit, you know, when the fish are on the beach. The reason that these fish are on the beach is they travel, it's like 275 or 75. It's a highway. They just move. That's how they move. They just travel up and down. If the fish are rolling real fast, you know, they're on a mission. They're going somewhere. You can still try to fish them, but those fish may stop a half mile down the road. So if you sit on the outside of them and, you know, kind of motor down with them, then all of a sudden they just stop. No one knows why they stop, but they just stop. As soon as they stop, give them a couple minutes, and they're ready to eat. But when you see the fish moving up and down the beaches or in the bay and they're kind of humping it, rolling real, you know, a bunch, I try to stay away from those fish. You know, I'll sit out, watch them for a half mile or so, and if they sit, great to fish. If not, turn around. There's plenty of schools, you know, to find. When you start talking like leader size and floats and stuff like that, I use really long leaders. I mean, I'm using 7 to 10 foot leaders. The more fluorocarbon you can stick in between the hook, and I use yellow lines because I'm getting old. I can't see that green stuff. That's why I use fluorescent green quartz. You can, you know, you get, as long as you can keep stuff away, like the guys in the Keys, I do a lot of tarpon fishing in Isle Morada too. And down there, I showed up one year with big old green quartz, and those guys laughed my ass out of the room. So they're all using little round quartz or like a 1/2 inch natural quartz. I'm like, how in the hell are you guys seeing that? I go, mine's not even have a cork on it. The pinfish has it halfway down underwater, you know. I'm like, screw that. Kept going back to this. Well, ended up, there's no difference. I mean, it's the same fishing like how we kind of do it. You just have to have the distance in between. So, you know, a big green thing, a fish sees it, it's just a shadow. So if your bait's over here and the cork's over here, he's not going to mess with the cork. He's obviously going to mess with the crab or the mullet or whatever you have at the end of the hook. So, I mean, tarpon fishing is pretty much a frustrating type of fishing. I mean, some days it's so easy that, I mean, everyone's got. And then the next day you go back and do the same thing and it sucks. I mean, you can ask Captain Rick back here. Captain Rick one day we were talking earlier. We're sitting there, he was out there, we're tarpon fishing at the Skyway. I'm drifting through, hook a fish, off I go. You know, Rick gets in behind me, go through the bridge, hook a fish. Rick goes through the bridge, nothing. This went on for about 4 or 5 drifts. You know, he calls me on the phone. What are you doing? Nothing. Just drifting through the damn bridge. You got 40-pound leader on? Yeah. You got 5-out hook? Yeah. You know, I'm like, nothing's different. You know, it's just, some days you're lucky. Some days you're not. But, you know, but it could have been just the opposite. I could have been the guy following Rick.
And your client
And watching Rick sit there.
It was terrible. We watched him dump about 6 fish and we didn't even have a sniff of one yet.
You know, but it happens. You know, if you see someone doing something like that, most likely, I mean, there's a few little tricks that you'll figure out what works for you and what doesn't work. You know, it's like anything in life. You know, there's always a trick. But when it comes to tarpon fishing, I mean, the setup is the key thing, in my opinion. If you set up with a long enough leader, know when to use a cork and not to use a cork, what bait to use a cork with, what bait not to use a cork with, that's pretty much the whole thing. You know, everyone knows that you can find tarpon. I mean, you go to the beach, they go south, they go north. You know, at the Skyway Bridge, all the bait there, the dolphins are there now, so it's kind of hard to catch them because you hook more dolphins than anything, and I'm not into that. So you know, it's just one of those deals. I mean, there's fish up in the bay, there's fish they're everywhere. I mean, tarpon have really come back in the last, 15, 20 years. I mean, there's been times where in the bay, I remember being a kid when I grew up on Davis Island. They used to have the tarpon tournaments. They used to hang the fish on Bayshore, and there was 2 years that no one caught a fish. I mean, there was no tarpon in Tampa Bay. So from seeing that and how the bay progressively is cleaned up and how many fish are back and stuff like that, and back then an 80-pound fish was huge. An 80-pound fish isn't even our average anymore. Our average fish is 130 pounds. I mean, that's huge. I mean, we always joke. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys know Tommy Z. Well, Tommy Z, I taught Tommy how to tarpon fish. Him and I were running together a bunch back in the day. Because I kid Tommy, because he's down in Key West tarpon fishing now. So, I always bust him about, those Keys fish being 60 pounds, 70 pounds. He's like, man, come on, man, we're almost up to 80 now. And I'm like, 80? Come on, man. He goes, yeah, I know. But anyways, I mean, it's just, tarpon fishing overall is getting really good. Well, obviously, when tarpon fishing gets good, it all shows up to more and more people also. So we're gonna go over some stuff real quick about drifting and stuff and little etiquette stuff, and then we're gonna open it up to questions because I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna have some. When you're fishing out at Egmont, whether you're in a boat, there's a lot of guys in kayaks now out there, which I think is crazy, but each their own. On the outgoing tide, on the new and full moon, we have what's called a hill tide. And what happens on those hill tides are, those are the biggest tides of the month. What happens, that outgoing starts, the tarpon are sitting, kind of up there in the pass and at Egmont in the 80-foot hole, you see them eating here and there, stuff like that. You can catch them, and then all of a sudden, this fish just kind of disappear as soon as the tide. All they do is they're drifting back out. They go way out, not too far, about a mile or two out. So the tide really starts going. Crabs, shrimp, threadfins are everywhere, Then all of a sudden, it's like someone flipped the light switch and said dinner time, and the tarpon start popping crabs and stuff like that. Well, 10 years ago, there wasn't that many people tarpon fishing out there. So the tarpon stayed on top popping crabs like no tomorrow. I mean, if you were out there and you were blind, hopefully no one's blind here. I'm not saying this, but I probably shouldn't. But it's like a blind squirrel could get an acorn. Well, all you had to do was toss the damn bait out there, and you were getting bit. Now there's a little bit more to it, because fast forward back to today, you have guys in boats that they see you hook a fish, and they think, oh man, he hooked a fish, so the fish are right there. They go zoom right up to where you were and start fishing, and they wonder why they're not getting anything. Well, first of all, you just ran over probably most of the fish, and the fish aren't there. They're all the way up in front of you now, because that current's moving at 8-9 knots, which doesn't sound too fast, but when you're in a boat drifting a crab, I mean, it's quick. So the thing is, if you're going to drift, especially in the main pack, drift all the way out, idle out, go all the way out and around, and come back in at the head and fish. Drift again. Don't go straight to the fish, because those fish, when they come up and the tide's really rolling, because they're down now, and deeper, and they come up and gulp air because the tide's moving real fast, those aren't the fish you're hooking. Those fish are just coming up and gulping air and going straight back down. The fish you're hooking are the fish you don't see. And if you have a good bottom machine, like like a Lowrance, HDS or Simrad, or Garmin has some new good machines out, Ray Marine, they're all pretty much good now. If you have side scan and down scan and 3D scan, I mean, you got everything. I mean, all the tools are there. I pay it, how they always tell you don't text and drive. Well, they should come up with a thing that says don't stare at your bottom machine and drive. Because, I mean, I stare at my bottom machine and I'm like, oh, there's a boat. But you gotta use the tools around you. Find a fish. I mean, it's real simple. I mean, there's a big old wad of crabs going down a weed line. You have to be on either side of those crabs, basically. Drift through the middle of it, you're going to clog your bait well pumps with grass, but whatever it takes. Just don't run hard. I was going to use another word, but you just have to idle out, run around, get back in line. Same thing on the beach, if you're beach fishing. Don't get on your trolling motor and try to keep up with the school. The reason the school's moving faster is because they hear the trolling motor going. If you're out at Egmont, don't be sticking down your trolling motor trying to think you're going to spot lock in 10 knots of current. It ain't going to happen. Don't anchor up. It's a waste of time. We see people do it. It's not going to work. You have to drift. You know, in the beginning of the tide, you can go down and spot lock in front of the fish and drift baits back, but you're still going to hear choice words. You know, I kind of accepted it, you know, but there's a lot of guides out there, and there's a lot of guides that, you know, are more traditionalists, and there's a lot of people that are traditional, and you'll hear it. I mean, it's better to just follow. All right, enough of the etiquette crap. Now, just whatever questions you have, I mean, I'm glad to answer.
Say hi, Mom. Hey, Mom.
Okay, so what are we doing? We're gonna do the raffle items, and then we'll kick that off. All right, where's Kaylin?
Man, she needs to be pulling.
We have an
forward.
official raffle puller, unbiased raffle puller.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, we'll come over here. We'll pull
Paid
over
her off
here.
at the last one.
And with these, we're gonna ask you guys to come up and kind of get these.
And you have
So-
to take donuts with you.
You gotta take a couple donuts with you.
Please.
All right, so what do we got first, Jay? Rod?
Rod.
No, hero Gold Series
Fishing
rod.
rod.
536.
Bingo, there you
Good
go.
God, brother.
Compliments of
Appreciate you, man.
Tampa Fishing
Thank you.
Outfitters.
Let's do the combo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you want the combo now,
All right, let's
right? Rod, reel.
let's go to the reel now, guys. This is a serious reel here.
I use these on my charters. They're great reels. They just come out with these. Can I play or no? One raffle.
All right, new BG reel, man. These are hot items here.
Travis can't even get one.
I got mine on order.
Heard that before.
563 gets a new reel.
Go, man.
Hey.
Right from the fishing.
I got you, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man.
All
Let's
right.
do the Smiths. Let's do the Smiths.
Oh, Smiths.
We got 2 pairs of Smith optics, which
In
was
here?
donated by
Yeah,
Optical
shampoo,
Outfitters.
shampoo,
Seriously?
some body wash.
Yeah, man. Hey,
Tissue?
it's my wife, man. She's all
I
about
was
it.
wondering about you if we got tissue and if you pack these.
All right.
There's tissue, no glasses.
545 gets a pair of sunglasses. Check that out.
Oh.
Those are like $200 sunglasses, so
There you go.
pretty sweet.
Oh, take it.
That's the new Chroma Pop from Smith.
Just, I'm gonna ask a question.
Uh-huh.
If they don't fit right, or she don't like those, can she come see your wife?
Sure.
And
Sure, absolutely. Optical
you know where they're
Outfitters.
located. We'll tell you
Optical
where they're
Outfitters is
located.
in Apollo Beach, which I know you guys are down in Ruskin.
Yeah,
So
Ruskin's
if,
not bad.
if for some reason those don't fit right, come into the store. We'll do our best to try to get you something that fits. Hey,
We'll
Jason,
try to
why don't you
upgrade
get out
you
of the
for a
way?
little change.
Huh?
Camera's right there.
Well, I was looking for them and Rick done stole them.
Another pair of sunglasses.
I want you to feel good. I don't want you to feel
525.
There you go, Smith.
Pair of Smiths.
Wear these every day, guys. They're good stuff. Problem.
Were you on?
We got one more big one here, guys. This is a really cool deal here. What is that? A 10-foot?
10 foot 3/8 humpback.
Yeah.
Compliments of Tampa Fishing Outfitters.
Yeah.
This is a heavy one too. She asked me if we wanted the shallow or the heavy. I said I'm making them suffer. Pick it all.
554.
Oh, JT.
All right.
Five,
Now
five,
here's
four.
the deal. Here's the deal on the net, little man. You got to throw it today on the cast net class.
Today?
Can we listen? If Travis can do it, anybody can do it. Okay? That's our motto.
You can do it.
Travis may be a little bigger, but I promise he's not as strong as you.
Appreciate you, brother.
A lot of that's from eating pokies too.
Awesome.
Bad weight.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming out. Most of you guys know my name by now anyway. I'm Captain Travis Yaeckel. I do the radio show with Danny and Jason and Rick. and I got conned into doing the cast netting deal. So I'm going to show y'all a little bit about the cast net. As I'm talking here, I'm just going to kind of pull this up. But there's a couple other things about cast netting. Your cast netting, for in our situation, for one thing, is to catch bait, right? And you hear a lot of guys talk about how to chum bait, how to do this, how to do that. You know, you've got the old school was like jack mackerel or cat food, or you know, anything that you can do to attract those bait fish. And the whole principle behind it is a lot of times, particularly on a flat for the most part, the bait sometimes will be spread out. There'll be a lot of bait in the area, but it might all be in one spot, say big enough to where when you open your net, you're going to get enough in say a couple throws. So you chum, and you'll pull up to an area where you know there's bait. Sometimes you don't have to chum, but if you do have to chum, what we use is, or I'd say most people use nowadays, is some type of a dry